Hello, beautiful humans. My name is Annie, and this is Holy Hell Hope, a YouTube channel that is hoping to provide some spiritual optimism, spiritual encouragement, spiritual insights, um, all in the context of acknowledging that sometimes life is shit. So we try to have, I try to have a pretty good balance of humor, realism, optimism, idealism, all that good stuff. And for you, if that's the type of thing you're looking for, I have created an oracle spread for today because today is the full moon. So it is July 15th of 2019. But this is a timeless pick a card, meaning that at whatever time you came across this video, these energies apply to you. So just wanted to give you kind of a breakdown of what we've got going on here. This is my crystal ball. This is a gift from my mother. Primary divination, I suppose, talisman. It brings me a lot of joy and blessing and hopefully a little extra oomph. So got that up for the full moon. And then this is my little buddy Penelope. A spiritualist minister told me that my spirit guide is manifesting as a squirrel. Not a totem, not animal medicine. Spirit guide showing up as a squirrel because I'm so frenetic. So just needs me to calm down, come over, and I can pet her. I've named her Penelope and found myself a little sandstone squirrel to help me connect to her. And I also found this adorable piece of peach moonstone, which happens to look a little bit like an acorn in the way that it's lined. Moonstone in general coincides, of course, with the lunar energy of this reading, and the peach emphasizes, let me think. I mean, that would be a combination of orange and pink. So you have the creative energy of the sacral chakra, that orange color. You have the healing energy of pink, which is the heart chakra. So that kind of mix going on. But as you can see, I get into the details of crystals, which is why I've decided that today I'm going to use the backs of the cards as the visual distinctions of your choices. But I want to clarify that each of these stacks have exactly the same types of cards. I'll be reading them in the same order. But the question for you is whether you feel drawn to this image or this location, this general, maybe you're just getting a vibe about left. Or these leaves here might be drawing you in, or this image of the goddess Kuan Yin, goddess of mercy and compassion. Very strong symbol of the water element, so very, very tied in again to this lunar energy. And I have a fourth oracle to also throw in that's on the bottom. Just to start with that one, I recently purchased this through the Goodwill thrift store auction website, which not a lot of folks know that it exists, but whenever a witch or a pagan becomes disillusioned, or of course might just be moving or what have you, but they will donate tarot or oracle decks. They'll donate, just anything esoteric, crystals, because because it's a niche interest. The individual Goodwill locations have a hard time selling them off, so they put them online so that folks who are looking for used tarot decks, wanting to, for me, there's a little romanticism about the idea of reclaiming, rehoming an orphaned deck, just kind of trying to vibe it out and kind of do a reciprocal, receiving that which has been discarded by others, because I'm intrigued, I'm interested, just because it's a general life rule, incidentally. Just because some folks might reject a thing, an idea, a you, doesn't mean that everybody will. If you're a weirdo, you've come to the right place, because I am an expert weirdo. So, anyway, this was a deck that had been donated by somebody who managed to lose one of the cards because I always count them out. And this is the very first deck I've ever had that was a missing one. So we'll see how that plays. But this is based on the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And from my understanding, the simple idea is the best way to be a healthy person and a healthy soul is to have self-awareness, to have good boundaries. Specifically, the 4 agreements are to be impeccable with your word, to not take anything personally, to not make assumptions, and to always do your best. Those are the 4 categories of the cards. So a little piece of maybe just plain old advice for the ending here. But we're going to be starting with the Sacred Rebels Oracle, which is by Alana Fairchild. This energy I'm choosing to bring in because I figure the folks who land on this video are likely to be maybe feeling a little bit lost in the messiness of today's zeitgeist and looking for something resonant, something meaningful, something that might be rebellious against however they grew up. So, Sacred Rebels, getting that vibe on in. Also, the Wisdom of the Trees Oracle by Jane Struthers, also a find through the Goodwill auction. I've always found trees to be an incredible symbol of not just steadfastness, but also sustenance. We're entirely reliant on plants for that good old oxygen. And to be honest with you, I had a pet tree when I was a little girl. The tree in the backyard, and his name was Pete. So, big fan of the idea of this oracle, and this will be my first time using it on other folks' behalf. So, hopefully that will be meaningful. And as I mentioned, the goddess Kuan Yin, again, Alana Fairchild, just really, really essentially lunar, feminine, divine compassion and mercy. As a minister, I've always felt very drawn to her. But I have not found a way to connect to her per se. So that's something that's still on my soul's to-do list, I suppose. So now that you have some familiarity with what we're doing here and an idea of what these images mean, I'm going to give you a minute to reflect on which one you're drawn to. Again, it doesn't matter what draws you, your eyes, your gut, your, spatial awareness. I tend to list to the left, ideologically as well as literally. So, whichever one you're drawn to, take a second here. And we'll start with the first pile. All right. So what is your Sacred Rebellion? I got to tell you, just so that you know, this deck, when I asked it what it wanted to say to the folks most drawn to its artwork, it was so enthusiastic about you folks that it threw itself across the table and knocked over the crystal ball and the incense that is wafting through. So, got some enthusiasm here. Let's see. Oh gosh, that's beautiful. Inspiration. Inspiration. Okay. First thing that comes to mind, the number 3 is always considered very powerful, specifically magical for just about most cultures that I've ever read about or come across. The number 3 is important because it is the beginning of manifestation, of the sense of community. Of course, there's the Trinity, but specifically the idea that any two people, any two things in relationship, the relationship itself becomes a third party, a creation, almost a being. That's what comes to mind here when I see the emphasis on child imagery, and of course the abundance of colors and flowers, not only flowers and leaves, but a bunch of little bumblebees. Oh, that is so sweet. A good friend of mine is enamored of bee symbolism. Always inspires, let's see, dedication to urbanation, busyness, community, etc., etc. Let's see what the deck has to say, or rather the author. All right. So this suggests that as of right now, you have been recently inspired. An idea has captured your attention or is about to do so. And it could be either a very clear vision or even just a vague inkling. But whatever it's going to be, it'll spark. And I suspect you'll know in your gut what it is that I'm talking about. But if nothing comes to mind, it may well be that will be in your near future. The card is inspiring you to be enthusiastic, asking you to allow yourself to be as enthusiastic as you ever were as a child, to even lean farther into that if maybe you had a childhood that was not so wistful. The card suggests that this is a time to not just embrace, but to manifest and to also draw in, to just kind of get into the flow with magic and synchronicity and just awe. The plain old awe in the eyes of this child, I think, might be even the most significant symbolism here. For the sake of time, I'm just kind of going to review this to see what is most relevant or thematic. Oh, that's nice. When an inspiration comes from the greater creative intelligence of the universe, even when it makes itself known as an idea coming through a human source, hello, all that is needed to bring it into being will be available at the right time. For the human channel of the idea, it is just a matter of being open, receptive, trusting, and enthusiastic about what has come through. Well, yeah, I'm working on it. Okay. So yeah, part of the message is that you yourself are a vehicle for inspiration. You are meant to think and do things a little bit differently than others. You're capable of receiving fresh ideas that are not so out there that they stop being practical or wonderful. But you're being asked to avoid the trap of doubting your ideas are special or interesting enough. Your inspiration comes from the universe itself. Beautiful. Coupling that with the tree of camphor. Okay. Camphor. Let's see here. Okay. So, the only thing I know about camphor is that it is a holy incense, clearly illustrated here by the Om symbol etched onto the bowl itself. Can we snag that Om symbol? There we go. You get a vague concept. Anyway, so sacred burning, but placed into a hole in the tree. That seems like a fire hazard. But let's see what the book has to say. All right, camphor. Now, the oracle itself is pretty tricky in as much as it tells you about the tree and you're basically left to glean the metaphor. But dun, 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 dun. Camphor, camphor, camphor. All right, so apparently this card falls into the trunk category. There are 4 categories, and the essence of the trunk cards is healing of some kind. Here is a healing clarity. Yep. I suspect I was on the right track. There we go. All right. I teach the importance of seeing situations clearly, not only with your mind, but also with your heart. This will enable you to look beyond the way things appear to be in order to see how they really are, and so find peace and understanding. This is a primarily Eastern plant. It is suggesting, okay, some time set aside by yourself, practicing slow and steady breathing. So the encouragement is to find or to create for yourself a sacred space, even if it's just the idea of the 3-foot radius around you, your personal bubble, but to to evoke a sense of sacred space and to dwell there in meditation. And that will help to bring some clarity, perhaps specifically to what you are meant to or can do with the inspiration at hand. Hello. As for Kuan Yin, Blossoms of the Sky Dancer, again number 3. So this when a number is duplicated in a single reading, that suggests that the number itself might be significant. So just bear that in mind if you've got some 3s going on recently. Blossoms of the Sky Dancer. This is one of the very few cards that I actually am familiar with, having, as I mentioned, worked with it only a bit. Kuan Yin dances creative energy and light across the sky, causing blossoms to descend. In the same way, when we tap into our spiritual power of creation, we cause our life and all of life around us to bloom. Creation is a natural spiritual power within you, beloved. Force can slow down the process. It is time to stop striving and to allow your manifestation to occur. Trust, let go, and allow your creation to flow. What a beautiful synchronization with these other cards. So you are being encouraged to absolutely to find or to create opportunities for creativity in your life. But to me, I would say reassurance here is that this isn't something that you're going to have to be frenzied and frantic about. You're not going to have to buzz like a little bee yourself. You get to be the child with the eyes wide in wonder. You get to take a moment to reflect on the significance of whatever might be happening, the significance to you, not to anybody else. Screw them. We're talking about the significance to you. To take that moment and to take it in deeply into yourself through your lungs, through your being, to exhale whatever might be clouding your inner vision and your wisdom, and to breathe deeply of purifying air. Heck, if you end up meditating, make sure to burn some incense. Make that a thing. And finally, embrace your freedom, my friends. This is an example of the don't take anything personally message. Embrace your freedom. You gain a huge amount of freedom when you take nothing personally. No spell can affect you regardless of how strong it may be. And if you live without fear, if you love, you will be happy with your life. Echoing again that surrender idea, the idea of falling into the flow, to the rhythm, whatever rhythm, whatever drum beat you dance to, right? Surrender. Surrender to the divine spark, which is either driving or nudging or simply whispering you into the direction of self-expression, of just the joy of creation, the joy of that satisfaction. Beautiful message. Okay. And if you yourself would ever like a private reading from me, you can contact me at holyhellhope@gmail.com. I will also be doing some more videos coming up related to tarot, oracle, some of the actual deets behind the scenes in terms of how to use and how to understand the decks. So keep an eye out for those, but just keep your eyes open. Look towards the light, wherever it's shining. Find a shaft of light and dance in it. Beautiful. Amen. Okay. Group 2. Got a little slappy over here. All right, we're still going to start with the Sacred Rebel. Yes. In the world and not of the world, number 34. Okay. So while you take a minute to enjoy the imagery, not being snarky, of course, there's nudity, but also just so much liberation, so much abandon, so much... On an intellectual note, the number 34 in numerology, once you have an idea of the individual digits, then you can kind of piece together the idea that this is the energy of the 3 with the 4. So, kind of a people person in addition to, somebody who's a people... Screw it. This isn't a numerology video. What does the book say? All right, my friends. The good news is that it is safe for you to become naked with life. This doesn't necessarily mean stripping off and running wild in public. It does mean stripping back your beliefs, strongholds, and mental or emotional security blankets so that you can live with less obstruction than ever before. Imagine the conditioning that has kept life away from you, just kept it dropping out of your hands like keys, coins, or clocks. Conditioned beliefs about money, time, security, having, locking away, holding, and controlling. These beliefs can be surrendered and allowed to fall away. This oracle comes as a message to you. It is time to outgrow your defenses. You have done. Shed them now. This has to do with your ideas about your productivity, time, control, money, abundance, trust, living with the fundamental belief that everything is going to turn out okay. You are ready to be much more vulnerable and exposed to life. You don't have to hide behind being organized, perfect, or financially secure and stable. You do not need another acceptable social face. It is time for you to loosen the strings of your own controlling nature. They are too tight and too restrictive for you anyway. You were born to live in a much freer way. Okay. What's your tree? The hornbeam. The hornbeam. Okay. So, the borderline tells me that this is also in the category, as with the previous reading, of the trunk cards, simply meaning that this is a healing card. The imagery, which I've never reviewed before, is suggesting, these are bundles of switch sticks that have been harvested. A harvesting tool seems to be a stool where folks might have been breaking down those twigs for that purpose. This is an old idea. Old vibe. What's going on here? The healing power of strength. I am one of the forest's strongest trees. I can help you to withstand the pressures and strains of life so that you grow from the experience and become more secure and confident. This hornbeam tree is prized for its tough wood, making it excellent for coppicing and for making durable tools. Known as ironwood, because it blunts a carpenter's tool. Interesting. This is a good time for you to work on new ideas, especially those related to your personal projects. Cultivate your creative talents. leading to fresh opportunities and renewed enthusiasm, rekindling your passion for life. Well, rekindling passion for life is not quite the aesthetic I get from the imagery, but let's see, 80-foot tree, native to most of Europe, so it might be especially meaningful to somebody. Who knows? The hornbeam, strength, becoming more secure for the purpose of confidence. Okay. So here, I think you are being reminded that you are undergirded, that you have, yeah, I'm going for it. I mean, there's no reference to time, but I'm so struck by how ancient this seems to me, at least, that this strikes me as a reminder that you have the strength and the flexible support of perhaps generations, whether it's your extended family or your friends who are as family, the folks who can gather around you, can bend to the situation to help to hold you up when needed. And that's not even to say that it is needed, but as reassurance that you don't have to worry so damn much. The tree, your people, your spirits, whomever, they've got your back. All right, Kuan Yin. Dance of the Butterfly Queen, number 5. Dance of the Butterfly Queen, number 5. So she has a halo, a particular emphasis then on her divinity. She's surrounded by and dancing with flowers, butterflies, but there are no flowers beyond the one in her hand. So the butterflies are there either for that flower or just for the joy of it. What? A pure heart and sincere love attracts divine grace. With the grace of Kuan Yin, Butterfly Queen, that which was impossible becomes possible. From caterpillar to winged creature of delight, you cannot restrain what divine grace ordains, no matter how incredible it may seem to be. Whatever has been troubling you or whatever has been inspiring you, allow grace to infuse the situation or dream so that it may unfold with divine perfection. Allow the Butterfly Queen to dance, and she will bring healing and grace to your life situation now, beloved one, with lightness of step and grace in her heart. The Butterfly Queen has lightness of touch and great joy, bestows blessings of healing, empowerment, and liberation. Divine grace flows to those in need and who are ready to receive it, and you are ready to receive it. You are ready to throw up your arms in dance and to let yourself be caught up in the flow. Both of these women are being caressed by the elements of water and air. These women are being loved and celebrated in the pureness of their authenticity. That's nice. Be aware of your unconscious assumptions. Okay. Going back to the fact that some of those conditioned patterns might be part of what have been holding you back up to this point. The unconscious assumptions. I don't even know what that image is. But there's a moon. Hey, there we go. Assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously most of the time because we have agreements to communicate this way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We've agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want or how we feel. It's a small card with not a lot of room for text, so I guess we're just meant to surmise that that message is some bullshit. You have time. You are free to ask questions, to speak your truth. Frankly, you are not free to assume that folks will know what you want or how you feel because they love you. Okay. So the message is that the patterns of your thinking, of your emotional rationale has held you back up to this point. And I frame it that way because you have the power to decide that today is the day, that these cards are the sign, that today begins something. And not everything. You don't have to take on the whole world. That's very, very clearly not the point. You have support. You don't have to scramble or fear about that. Take a deep breath. Speak out your truth. And then join the dance. Amen. All right. Thank you for sharing this time with me. And if you enjoyed the reading, if you enjoy the reading, do the like, the subscribe, the comments, etc. And if you feel that you would benefit from or enjoy a private reading from me, please contact me at holyhellhope@gmail.com. Thank you. All right. Group 3. Your Sacred Rebel. 18 Spirals of Manifestation. Spirals of Manifestation. Love it. Spirals happen to be one of my absolute favorite symbols, and for an actual reason. On the crisis hotlines, of course, a lot of folks are feeling trapped in cycles. So I've had a lot of practice talking to folks who fear or have simply concluded that they are doomed to repeat the pattern and that the cycle will not end. And I always remind them that even if you're going back around again, it doesn't have to be a circle. It can be a spiral. There can be a third dimension. There can be a forward progress. A slinky has depth as well as going around and around and around. I really like that. Let's see what Miss Alana Fairchild has to say about it. The creative and rebellious path of love moves in spirals. It's not linear. Sometimes our mind decides that the way forward is to take clear steps from one point to the next logical point, but there is a genius within that can guide us on an alternate route. If there is an unnecessary pothole or delay in the typical linear path of progression and the curved loop in the path will be quicker, more fun, or more beautiful, then why not allow yourself to be guided to that path? This can happen through trust and wisdom rather than rigid adherence to what on the surface appears to be logical progression. You are now in the midst of a spiral of manifestation. Something is coming into being even if you think it is further away than ever before. How amazing it will seem when what you have been dreaming of falls into place. Suddenly what you have been thinking of creating will plonk into your reality. Plonk? Yep, plonk. Okay, excellent. Seemingly out of nowhere. Because it was just around the bend, just out of view, on the spiral of manifestation, and you could not see it coming. In truth, it was coming to you all along. Sometimes, if you feel the furthest away from what you want than you've ever been, you may actually be closer than ever before. And for this card, in this stack for your choice, it suggests that you are, in fact, drawing closer to your goals, whether it is a conscious goal, certainly emphasized here in terms of conscious, logical, reasoning and progression, but even just the aspirations and goals of your soul, you may be drawing closer than you'd given yourself credit for. Let's see if the tree ties in. Hazel. Okay. So there is a triple emphasis here on the circular shape. You have the clearing, which I would take to be a gathering place. You have the fact that this is a lawn surrounded by a hedge or a forest, and then you have the archway of the entrance itself. So again, echoing that spiraling imagery. Hazel. Witch hazel is an astringent. So there might be not sharpness, but decisiveness to this energy. Let's see. Appreciate your patience with the process. All right. So this tree falls into the leaf category, meaning that this is emphasizing wisdom. And for the hazel, it is the wisdom of healthy boundaries. Well, wait, what page am I going to? There we go. My history of being planted in hedgerows means that I am an ancient guardian of boundaries, both physical and spiritual. Let me teach you how to set your own boundaries so you know where to concentrate your power and wisdom. The Celts believed that the hazel was responsible for fostering inspiration and wisdom, so they honored it as one of their trees of knowledge. Hazel branches have often been used as divining rods to find water. And hazel is brought indoors on May Day to guard against evil spirits. I like it. So the message is beware of dissipating your energy by becoming caught up in ideas and situations that are nothing to do with you. Decide where your mental and emotional boundaries lie, particularly when dealing with other people. So though the lines are curved, the boundaries are what are being emphasized here. And I think that the combination of the message is to suggest that this is a time for discernment. So not only to let life draw you down a path, a scenic route, etc., but to also choose your path at the fork in the road. Let's see. What does Kuan Yin say? 10 Sisters of Light. Number 33. Huh. Beautiful. Okay. So 33 is a very special number. Any doubled number is considered an angelic or master number. Let's see. Yep. There we go. Kind of along those lines. The message here is that you are an advanced soul. You've lived through many incarnations and shown your light through many different faces. Your soul has learned many skills in past lives, developed abilities and talents. This lifetime is a culminating lifetime in the sense that your soul is drawing together potencies developed over many lifetimes into a unified expression. It is like drawing on the power of 10 sisters or more into your current lifetime. Be prepared to grow and shine, beloved. This speaks specifically to the idea that is very popular of the higher self, capital H, capital S. It says the higher self likes to integrate the wisdom it has gleaned over many experiences and lifetimes so that nothing is lost and all is enhanced. You are in a process of spiritual weaving and integration at a soul level now. This means that skills and abilities that you hardly recognize consciously will become more obvious to you. You may find that you know things from different traditions that you don't remember learning on purpose. You may feel strangely drawn to start studying different healing arts or martial arts. Be patient, open, and trusting of this journey. It is an intense time of spiritual growth, as in the integration there is also shedding of old issues or pain that no longer serves you. It is good to let this go. Excellent. So again, emphasizing that third dimension, that forward momentum and progress of the spiral, that you are right now experiencing the culmination, the results caused by all of the wisdom, experience, joy, relationships, everything that you remember having experienced and accumulated in this lifetime, and then tenfold. It's very, very beautiful. And I would think then that there is some conflict or balancing out here in terms of you are being told, not to be surprised if you are experiencing an influx of information from no apparent source that might seem irrelevant to the task at hand or what your life is consciously about. If you've got incoming information, you are being encouraged to, but also reminded that you are able to be discerning, to draw your boundary lines, and to make some decision, and granted through a necessary process of self-evaluation, because 10 personalities would certainly be more complicated to sort through than one. And to be fair, it is not that literal, but it is very much believed that that, as an example, there are 100 other Annies in this very moment in other multiverses that are doing very, very different things. So don't let yourself get caught up in the confusion of blending timelines, things being dredged up from the past of your memories now, of your lifetime now, needing to perhaps establish some boundaries in a more interpersonal sense in the relationships in play for you right now. And your final piece of advice is to practice. Practice makes the master. Always do your best. By doing your best over and over, you can master the art of transformation. By doing your best, the habits of misusing your word or taking things personally and making assumptions will become weaker and less frequent with time. So again, reassurance that even if you feel as though you might be stuck in a rut, you might feel that none of this applies to you because maybe life seems especially narrow to you right now. The suggestion is that your journey overall is very much in progress, and that the repetitive nature of aspects of your daily life may be grinding you down, but it is also a reminder that if we must do something repeatedly, if we can do so conscientiously, if we can decide on a meaning for it or a practice to coincide with it, we can kind of reclaim that time and make it meaningful. Training ourselves over time to be more generous to ourselves and to others, deconditioning ourselves from the patterns that we were taught perhaps by our family of origin. You may well be feeling overwhelmed or stuck or both. And you are being reassured today on this full moon that you are already and always, you are in this moment so much more than you realize. You have made so much more progress than you may realize. You are deserving of and responsible for your boundaries and your discernment. But in the practice of establishing those boundaries, routines, those patterns, you can choose healthy ones. You can choose to relearn how to be the best version of yourself. To not repeat past mistakes, remembered or otherwise. You're doing okay, my friends. And I hope that this message was coherent and meaningful to you. Please like, subscribe, notification bell, but also if you would like a private reading from me, you can contact me at holyhellhope@gmail.com. And in the meantime, many blessings to you. Amen, amen, amen.